For those of you that showed success on the mini quiz with factoring with boxes, I'm going to show you another method, maybe a little more elegant, that they tend to use when you get to Algebra 2, and I think you're ready. Okay, so here's how to factor another way. Okay, so when you factor, you're going to be getting your answer like this. So your first step is to write two sets of parentheses. So let's take a look at this example right here. Okay, I know I have to get it factored, so I know my answer is going to look like this. Okay, fill in the first two terms. That would multiply to make the x squared term. Okay, so if I were to multiply these two, how do you make 3x squared? Well, there's only one way to make a 3. A 3 times a 1. And this has to be x, and this has to be x. Okay, do those multiply to make 3x squared? Yes. Okay, so we've already got the first half of the work done. Now, step 2, fill in two constants. The constants are the number ones that would multiply to make the constant. Okay, well, this problem seems pretty easy because how do you make a 5? I know it's got to be 1 times 5. Do those multiply to make a 5? Yes. Okay, now here comes the fun part. You have to multiply the outers and the inners to check if they add to make the middle term. Your middle term. Okay, so I know that the firsts work and I know that the lasts work. The question is, what about the middle term? Okay, you can't just stop. Please make sure that you check. There's lots of combinations that will not make the middles. Okay, so by outers, I mean outers right here. 3x times 5 is 15x. And then the inners are these ones. Okay, and that would be 1x. Now I know we didn't put the negative, the plus and minus signs in. To make a negative 5, one of these has to be negative. So maybe I'll try negative here, positive here. So this would be 15x, and this would be negative 1x. So does that make negative 2x? And it doesn't. Okay, oh, maybe I should try switching the signs. If he was the positive one and he was the negative one, then the negative sign would be on 15, and then 1x would be positive. But those still don't add up to negative 2. Okay, so when you're adding up and getting 14, you're not even close. This is not the right combination. So we have to try again. I'm going to try 3x here and 1x here, just like last time. But maybe I'll put a 5 here and I'll put a 1 here. Okay, how does that work out? Let's try this. This is sometimes called the guess and check method. Okay, so you guess some combinations, but then you check. So this is more of a try, erase. So you spend your time trying. The box method, you spend your time working and you're going to get the answer. Sometimes this is longer, sometimes it's faster. So I know that the firsts make 3x squared. I know those are good. How about the outers? 3x times 1, that's 3x. And then the inners makes 5x. And the lasts are going to make a 5, except one of them needs to be negative. So I need to end up with negative 2x. So what I'd like to do is have a plus and a minus. That would make negative 2. If the 5 was negative and this was positive, okay, I think that would work. So I think the answer is 3x minus 5 times x plus 1. Does that work? 3x squared. Good. And then the outers and the inners. That's 3x minus 5x. Yep, that makes the middle term. And then the lasts, negative 5. Okay, so this works. Okay. If this method is totally confusing and you don't like it, we could always go back to drawing the boxes and doing the MA table. Okay, here's another guess and check. Let's try this one. I'm going to start with 2 sets of parentheses. How do we make a 2x squared? Well, I know that's easy. That's 2x times x. It gets really hard when it's like a 6. Is it 2 times 3, 3 times 2? Is it 1 times 6? There's so many combinations. Okay. How do you make a 7? It's got to be 7 times 1. Okay. But now we have to check the middles. So we have to check outers and inners. So the outers make 2x and the inners make 7x. Even if I put plus and minus signs, are those going to add or subtract with 13? I don't think so. No, that's not the right combination. So let's try again. Let's try 2x and x, and let's switch the 1 with the 7. Luckily, there's not a lot of play here. I don't have to try 2 and 3 or other combinations. It's either 7 first or the 1 first. So what are the outers here? 14x and the inners are 1x. I think that's going to make a 13. Okay, so we're still kind of doing the guess and check. You know how we did the numbers with the multiply add and you had to figure out the numbers? That's what we're doing. We're figuring out the numbers. I need to make sure it adds to negative 13. So I want the negative on the big guy. So I'm going to put a minus here and a plus here. And if it doesn't work, I could always switch it around. 2x squared, that's going to work. Negative 14x plus 1x, do those make negative 13x? Yes, and then last, make negative 7. So the answer is 2x plus 1 times x minus 7. Okay. Sometimes people spend more time guessing and checking than actually just making the boxes. Okay. If the numbers are pretty small and straightforward or prime, this might be a technique you want to try. I need you to go into your packet now and see if you want to try this technique. If you don't like it, we could go back to boxes. Thank you.